Not really, to be honest. When they taught me how to design data architectures, which is quite a number of years ago, to be honest, they always said that you first have to design, call it the more conceptual aspects of a data architecture. And then when you've got that, right, I'm not talking about products at all, but when you've got that, then sort of select the products that you're going to use to implement that data architecture. So really like sort of a two-step process. First, the conceptual data architecture, then the products and the technologies. And that has definitely changed. Today, we have to apply a much more holistic approach where we have to look at the architecture, the conceptual architecture, and at the available products and technologies that will only sort of lead to the ideal or the perfect data architecture. And that's a big change for how we do this, how we design data architectures. No, they definitely do. And of course, each company has its own reasons for doing it. But what I see is that becoming data-driven is a very dominant reason for designing new data architectures. Almost every company nowadays wants to be more data-driven, whether they are commercial or not commercial, doesn't really matter. And data-driven always means that they want to do more with data, right? They want to use data more widely, more effectively, more efficiently, in the hope that it will improve their decision-making processes or their business processes. But if they then look at their current systems, they see that they're not really good enough or scalable enough to support all the new things that they want to do with data. I think that's a very dominant reason for companies to go for new data architectures. Yeah, well, if you design a new data architecture, as you can imagine, companies design them for different use cases. And of course, you can design them from scratch, right, from a sort of a blank piece of paper, or you could use one of these reference data architectures, as I used to normally call them. And a data lake is a reference architecture. Data fabric is one, data lakehouse is one, data hub is one, and they're all designed for specific use cases. So if that use case matches what you want, then start out with one of those architectures. So they're quite important. Well, they will definitely learn how to design a data architecture. They'll learn about all these new data architectures that I just mentioned, right? Such as data lakes and data hub and the other ones, such as data mesh. They'll learn about some of the new technologies that will impact our data architectures. Technologies for storing data, technologies for integrating data. We'll talk about metadata aspects and security aspects of data architectures. It's a very practical kind of session. It's really how do you do this designing of architectures? That's what they will learn. I would say anyone involved, let's say, in designing new data architectures. So think about solutions architects and IT architects, enterprise architects, of course, data architects, but also data warehouse specialists and system analysts. Really, everyone involved in designing these new data architectures.